I like it. Thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, yeah, of course, man.
Mate, you do some wacky shit with some wacky apparatus. And to be honest with you, first of all, I love it. But the first question that comes to my mind is like, what has that taught you mentally? What door have you
Mm,
unlocked? What avenue have you gone down? Because I like to think of this fitness thing, right, as it kind of exposes you to you, to use Aristotle's quote of adversity. It exposes you
mm.
to you of just like, okay, well, what are you going to do with this barbell, this dumbbell, this burpee, this bike, this rowing? But with the odd object kind of stuff, with the larger range of motion kind of stuff, what are the doors? What other avenues have you gone down? What questions have you asked yourself?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing I tell myself or I sort of live by is that tools are teachers.
Ooh.
So a tool's a teacher. So that brings on the idea you mentioned like odd objects. So just lifting anything and treating it as a tool, and that you're most likely going to gain information or knowledge from it. So whether I'm moving it through a broad range of motion or just picking up something awkward and heavy, um, you're going to get something out of that, right? I don't need to be some master of that specific lift or that specific tool or whatever, but I'm going to gain information in space and within my own body in that environment with that object. And the movement practice, I sort of like head over here at weck method right now. It essentially it's rooted in this idea of your spinal engine or your proximal core or this torsion theory stuff, sort of guiding all of your movement. And it sort of becomes this little staple, this thing to sort of lock into. That when I go and explore different tools and learn information from them, I'm always sort of rooting back to that proximal core. And I'm able to take whatever information I learned from that tool or that environment or whatever I'm doing, and I can bring it to the other thing. So I'm not just gaining feels for feels. I'm always sort of training this one thing, and then I can bring it to the next thing, and I learn from that new thing, and I just keep building up this sort of central point, which is the core or the spinal engine is sort of the thought process. So
I love that because you're using different tools and you're exposing yourselves to different things. And
yeah,
I think we specialize too early, whether it's in the strength spot scene, right? I'm like, I only do barbell. I'm a powerlifter now. It's like, okay. Or even more specialized, I'm a weightlifter now, right? It's like, you got to do 6 lifts. You're like, okay, cool. I was like, what can you learn from all this shit? Maybe we do some
yeah,
unilateral stuff rather than just on a barbell. Or maybe like in sport, we see it growing up as kids, like they're a gymnast or a swimmer, early
yeah,
specialization sports. That's it. That's all you're going to be. This is going to be you. And if you don't make it to the Olympics, we're going to give you a kick out and you're going to be able to, do something else. You're like, well, the only thing I've ever been
sure.
able to do is swimming or gymnastics. The only thing I've ever been able to learn how to pick up is a barbell, right? And then you get those folks out of the gym and they're like, I don't know how to do things. Yeah, we'll figure it
Yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah. So, something I'm trying to encourage people to start thinking about in their training thought process, and really, it's almost just setting an intent within yourself, but it's the idea that something you do want to specialize in would be a prime function of a human being, which would be the idea of the gait cycle. So, walking would be the basics. So, some people talk about like walking and crawling and stuff, but really looking at the idea of what the gait cycle is for a human. And if I can at least put it down to it's the idea that I shift my weight from my left to my right, if nothing else, so we don't have to get into all the nuances of what people think about gait, but just that idea of weight transfer, right? That carries over to essentially every field of sport. It's going to carry over to a lot of weightlifting, things like that as well. And that, if I take that and I decide, so instead of looking at like specialization as something maybe I shouldn't do, or that if I go too far down that rabbit hole of specialization, that I might lose other things. If we can focus maybe the specialization more so on a like a broad prime function like that, something that I walked into the gym, I'm gonna walk out of the gym. And then I can take my weightlifting or whatever I love doing in the gym or whatever tool I love using, and I can associate that practice and bring it back to the thought process of gait or weight transfer. Even just thinking about it that way, I can get more from my weightlifting and bring it to my gait or my walk out of the gym the bulk of the rest of my day. I'm not lifting weights all day. So I think I think most of the lifts, even in just traditional weightlifting or powerlifting or whatever, where you're more sagittal, you're getting like axial load, it's all bilateral. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think your body needs to pressurize and learn how to manage load, and I think it's a great expression of strength. It feels fucking incredible. It's something you can get good at and do over and over and over again. But making sure that like in some of that accessory work or even just while you're doing it, thinking of how that's going to help you shift your weight will change your whole thought process on what's happening there.
Yeah.
I'm sort of an oddball. I'm obsessed with feedback from different tools. So I'm constantly using different stuff, and I could just care less about specializing in things. I probably, if anything, I use kettlebells. That's probably the thing I would say I've sort of stuck to, that I have like a consistent basis on, kettlebells and sandbags. But even working with those in themselves have so many variables that it never feels as consistent as something like a bar or something of that nature. So, yeah, and really just bringing it all to this idea of like a prime human function. Some people try to say swinging, throwing. I kind of look at swing, throw, catch, and locomote, or walking, if nothing else. It's sort of a cool thing to start steering your practice towards, but don't remove things from your practice. I've noticed a lot of the term functional fitness, or like people doing functional movement now or something like that. It tends to steer away from load a little bit and focus on range of motion or movement, which is beautiful, but you still want load and shit. So definitely still lift a lot of heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Like we kind of deal with the fringes on the extreme. You know, it's like, oh, okay, I'm a mobility guy, so I don't touch weights, and now I'm a weightlifter, so I don't do any cardio, and now I do triathlon, so I don't touch weights again or do any mobility. And you're like, we probably need a bit of everything, you know,
Yeah,
just
I think part of the problem with some of the stuff with that going on, I think has to do with trying to sell yourself as a coach to the general
yeah,
population.
yeah,
And people tend to need to digest things in that way, like it's this, it's that, it's this. And we sort of have to shape ourselves to that and become a pinnacle in that to help get people in the door and to make money.
yeah,
And I think fitness is kind of funny. Like it's just like it's a it's meant to be a practice. It's meant to be something that's supposed to make you feel better, make you better, make other people better. And I think that's getting a little bit lost right now with the vast amount of information and places that I can sort of park myself in the industry. So just remembering that you're there to develop a movement practice, and that yeah, that's what it's all about. And you should sort of be a jack of all trades. I know that term generalist has been thrown around for years, but yeah, really, like if you really are that, then being open to different styles of movement. And yeah, and I think the big thing I'm trying to get after to help people understand is that again, kind of rooting things back to that idea of prime human functions, the idea of that gait cycle, and utilizing that as a prime function. And I love strongman. So strongman in itself sort of has like odd lifting to begin with. And strongman also has like just an ungodly amount of carrying and dragging and pulling, and this idea of locomoting involved in it. So I think a lot of those type of athletes are sort of aspirational in regards to like somebody to chase, or lifting odd stuff. They're moving it through space, they're running, they're throwing, they're doing a lot of really like fundamental things that human beings should be able to do. They're doing it for sport, and it even has some level of specialization now. But I think if you kind of look, I usually sort of look back more to like old time, like circusy strongmen, like sort of
yeah,
those first movement culture type people, and sort of just where they were steering things. They were usually very good at like gymnastics and moving their own body, but could also handle like just incredible loads and odd loads. That was part of the show, though, I guess, like to pick up something that just somebody else just couldn't even fathom how to do it because they've never touched it, don't even have the opportunity to, so you wouldn't even know. Yeah, so
this is
but
where I think it's beautiful to be a coach, because you can really lose yourself in the rabbit hole and be like, well, I have got so much to learn, but also I have got so much to teach that, like, if I had an athlete, for example, and I'm gonna have them over a lifetime, we can expose them to so much over that time. But now it's like, okay, I got 6 weeks, let's make them lose weight, or I got 6 weeks, let's get them strong as fuck. And it's like we just hone in and go, okay, we got 3 tools, 2 tools, this is all we're gonna do. It's like, well, there is other ways that we can make these people move better, but also other ways that we can transfer that development to the character, to the person,
Sure.
right? Outside of
Yeah.
the gym. We spend maybe 1 hour in the gym, especially if you're like GPP, maybe 3 times a week, and that's kind of it. All right, Sam, what are you going to do for the rest of the hours? Like, well, how can we have a lasting impact on these people rather than just, okay, we're going to do the same shit again? Like, no. Like, what are you talking to them with? Like, how are you giving feedback on their gait or their movement or weight transfer? Or how are they doing with the relationships in their life? You can really expand that bubble and really do just kind of throw everything in the mix. Like, that's what a coach is, man. It's
Yeah.
not just
Trying.
here's a barbell, you squat good, let me write your program in. Like Sam,
Yeah.
there's times for that, but also
Sure.
with
Of
people.
course. Yeah.
We're dealing with people. We're not dealing with fucking robots. Nobody's turning up to the Coliseum to see 2 robots punch shit out of each other.
That'd still
Nobody's
be
doing
pretty cool. I don't know. I'd probably watch it.
that. Okay.
But, uh,
We want to see
yeah.
humans, right? It adds in that, like, the psychological piece. It adds in the sociological piece, the emotional piece, the weird, iffy diffy, ishy gushy stuff. It's like, well, what the fuck is this? Like, why is this person off their game? They come in, they're dragging ass. I was like, for fuck's sake, you feel like you're pissing me off already. Like, or maybe I'm doing that to you. It's like, yes, that's
Yeah.
it. It's people. And we
Yeah.
get to
Yeah. Of
learn
course.
that from sandbags and kettlebells.
Yeah. And so the other thing I love about the idea of just being open to the idea of tools, and I mean, I grew up as a carpenter, so tools have reasons you use them, and certain ones have specific feedbacks or things they're going to give you. But this idea that like somebody might be excited about a specific cool tool or something, you know what I mean? So when you're a coach, you sort of just need to have stuff like that in your arsenal. Like literally,
Yeah.
if the person just loves the idea of using kettlebell, like fuck yeah, let's use that.
Yeah.
Let's learn from that experience, and maybe we can take that information and branch it off to other things as well. But yeah, I don't like feeling like I have to be fixated to one thing specifically, and like being a coach and just being intuitive. It's exhausting to be intuitive and trying to teach people to be intuitive to like what they need for the day. Like I don't actually program. That drives people nuts, I think, but I've programmed in the past, and it's been just the biggest waste of my fucking time ever, is sitting down trying to write programs for people, because they very often don't need to follow that. They like, if they just follow what they need to do for the day, we can kind of have a general gist of what we're after and things. But I have found way more success in just being open and fluid to the energy of a day when I'm working with somebody, and kind of having this idea that they need to leave with a smile and they should feel like they're walking better afterwards and coming back in the next time. Because if they leave happy and they walk better, they're going to walk back in the door tomorrow type thing if you need it. So,
Sure.
yeah, but yeah.
Walk out with a smile. That really warmed
Yeah.
my heart, mate. Like, I
Yeah, that's
think,
for sure. Every one of my athletes, man, if they're not like a big ass fucking like laughing smile on their face at the very end, then I didn't do my job. So,
yeah, you didn't do your job.
yeah.
I think it gets neglected, right? I feel like we have fallen into the trap of we need to punch our athletes in the face and be
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, they're crucified, their knees are sore, their back hurts. It's like, cool, we've done our job. No, probably not.
Yeah.
Chronically, probably not,
Yeah.
guys. Maybe we're doing them a disservice.
Yeah, maybe. Well, so the part of that is that also, I think the problem with that is the client themselves too, and the coach saying that like you're in charge of this whole situation. And I think that's a problem. A coach, like,
Yes.
it's a intuitive thing. Like I run the facility here at Weck Method more like a dojo in regards to when people are coming in and training. Like I usually give people time. Like I'll give a lot of personalized time, and then I have lots of other business and stuff I'm doing, and I sort of oversee the whole gym here. And I like if I'm looking at something, I'll come there, I'll give points, but somebody's over there doing their own practice. They're developing their own personalized thing. It has some flavor of something I gave them, but a lot of stuff that they want to do on their own. And like they're taking charge of their training and they're doing what they feel like they need to do for the day. And sometimes they want to come in here and fucking just go ham and like go crazy and burn themselves out. And I've felt the same way, and I know the urge to do that. So I'll do it sometimes, and sometimes it's not. It's completely the opposite. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Both times they're leaving with that smile on their face. All right.
Yeah, they have to. And I think
Yeah.
creating autonomous athletes, right? Ones that know
Yeah.
themselves in and out of the gym.
Yeah.
Though I think we definitely have done a disservice. And I think it's a negative when
Mm.
inevitably we're going to leave. We're going to change locations or they are. That
Yep.
life takes us apart sometimes, like stories intertwine, but then they're going to go apart. And if they don't know who they are and they don't have an aura of independence, we fucked them.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, fuck them. I mean, we are. You got to give ourselves credit as coach. We're coaches and humans as well, and we're learning and trying to figure that out as well. So
For
we don't
sure.
have to don't have to beat yourself up over it. And sometimes the maybe it's not the best fit or even the time for that pairing to figure out how to get that to work that way. But yeah, I mean, the idea is to try to learn to be intuitive with each other and to help somebody figure out their practice. So they don't need you and but they want me to be there, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
wherever they need to be. So yeah.
How did you come to that school of thought?
I think I've always been that way. I've kind of always been an outlier on the fitness industry. I didn't really like I went to school to be an event planner or something like in business management. I didn't even actually care about fitness and everybody talking in it. I just love moving and I had a practical need for movement and strength in my life. I was a carpenter until I was 26 and I my with my father. So like I was always moving and had to be strong and had to lift awkward shit all the time. uh, and with no thought process on like form is necessary for certain things because it wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? You just did what you had to do. So um, I think that just put me in a better headspace approaching movement and thought process there, or at least a very open one, just to trust in my own instincts and how I needed to move. And I sort of started just kind of like showing people stuff, and it sort of got onto the like, hey, like you should work with people, like that's a cool thing. So yeah, and I love doing it. It's a good energy exchange. And like if you have any coaches that listen to this and stuff, like remember that every session you do is like an energy exchange with you and somebody else, and that needs to be a good one. You know what I mean? And if it feels like it's not a good one, like it's okay to like both say we don't need to do this today. Like you got to pay the bills sometimes, but those bad energy exchanges will mess you up.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. You can't be given 100% and they're not giving any back. And vice versa. They can't be giving you 100% and you be tapped out. Like we need to do
yeah.
better quality work, so we're not desperately
I,
trying to fit in 15 sessions in a day.
yeah, and I think some of the problem with that is that there's like industry standards to like what a session is intended to be. Like you sort of have to allot this, like, oh, this is 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, and really like I've done this since early in my career because I went into business for myself right away, and basically I said a session's a session. Like
Mm,
we call this thing maybe it's going to be 60 minutes or something, but I'm not going to own to that. Like it's going to be what it's going to be, and we're
mm.
both going to understanding about that, and it's going to make sense if it's shorter or longer. But we're both going to show up. You know what I mean? Like it's going
Yeah.
to show up, and it's going to be what it is. And sometimes that ends up being 2 hours on my end but the energy exchange is worth it. You know what I mean? So I could give more as a coach, but that has always been worth it for me as a coach to do that, both
Mm.
for myself and also for the person and ultimately my business as a whole, because people recognize you care about your business and what you're doing. And yeah, that's hard to do sometimes, but it's very much worth it. So
In terms of energy, how do you find um, walking away from the gym after the day?
me, oh, I've always been fine with that. Like when I was working, I kind of a different role now. I don't train per se, like as like my full time thing now. I have a lot of other responsibilities, but I do even when I was just doing that maybe 5, 6 years ago, like I was waking up 4 in the morning and training the morning crew and then leaving the gym at 10:30, 11 p.m. at night because I had the night crew and I was mopping and cleaning the floor at night. You know what I mean? So, and I felt fucking ready to go the next day because I made sure it always was what I wanted it to be. So I think
Yeah.
making sure you're enjoying what you're doing, recognizing that you're in an environment with that, working with people, like if there's people that you feel like are not working in that realm, trying to figure out how to get them where they should be. Because I wouldn't always say that that's like a bad thing. Maybe it's just not the right energy mix. But yeah, I
Understanding your
think
why, right?
yeah. And then other factors in life, like having your family and
Yeah.
things like that. You got to be able to juggle your life as well and remember that that's okay. I think training's really cool business for that. You have a little, unless you like work for a place that you have like hours and stuff, it's a little more flexible. So you can work around navigating family life a little better, which is cool.
Yeah, it's definitely good when it comes to holidays, you know, like especially if you're a contractor, freelance, or on your own business or
Mm-hmm.
something, you just like, no, this is the time I'm not available. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
sound. And you go and do your thing. Yeah, okay, you're not getting any income. But it is what it is. Like it's pros and cons. You gotta give a little and you gotta take a little.
Yeah.
I think we as coaches neglect our own self too
Mhm.
much.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get caught up in it. Yeah, and that's that need to make money, that drive, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So I don't think that's yeah, you just gotta learn to find that balance. But you're human, it's okay.
for sure. And sometimes reinstating boundaries and being like, no, sorry, I don't work weekends or I don't do mornings or I don't do whatever. I gotta pick my kid up or I gotta do this, that, and the other. Like that's okay. Like
Hmm.
the athletes, the members, the business owner isn't gonna hate you for it. They're probably gonna respect you more because you've dug the trench a little deeper and been like, I respect myself, my time, and the people outside of the gym a little bit more. Plus, when I come back in, I can provide them with a better session because I want to be there. I got more energy. You know, you're not in there 24/7. We've all done it. We've all lived in gyms. We've all done like you said, the
Hmm.
11 p.m., 4 a.m. And we loved it,
Yeah,
you know,
oh
because
yeah.
you're young, dumb, and full of cum.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we can't do it forever.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't sleep much either. I got a kid now, so
I
still do it. Yeah.
got three questions.
All right, let's hit them.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Oh God. Oh, I don't fucking know. I don't know if anybody's giving me any life advice, man. Just I would say it's probably my own. It's just listen to how I feel and be intuitive to stuff. So I'll give you that life advice.
Mm.
Yeah.
What about the worst?
Worst? I don't know. I try to I don't know, man. I don't really take too much heed in people's words right away. I look at their actions more than anything.
I like
So
that a
maybe
lot.
I can answer both of those questions with I watch people rather than listen to them most of the time. And I've been around a lot of hypocritical people in my life. So and I caught wind of that very early in my life. So I think I naturally just tend to not heed people's word and rather watch their actions. So I would say that if that answers that well enough for you.
For sure, man. I think if you witness that and you're switched on in a developmental years, right? When you're a younger lad or lady, you end up turning off the noise of the world and turning on your intuition and understanding that voice in your head. And I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, of
Yeah,
like, yeah, you gotta understand yourself. And people are always gonna say shit. All right, whatever, let it go in one ear, out the other. You know, it's water off a duck's back. And go on and go ahead your merry way and do whatever you want to do anyway.
yeah.
Your last
And I
question.
think, yeah, let's
Oh,
hear it.
what were you saying, brother? Sorry.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, God.
You can talk as much shit as you want, lad.
Yeah, no, yeah, good.
What are the three words you would tell your younger self?
My younger self.
Yeah.
Oh God. Mm, I don't know. Mindful with your money. Mindful with money. I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my younger self. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. So I don't know.
That's nice to hear, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm blowing these questions on you.
No, no, no. Like I prefer honesty of fucking say how
Yeah.
you feel, say what you think,
Yeah, no, I don't.
whatever that is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah,
Brother, I appreciate your time, man.
yeah, dude, for sure.
I gotta come on down. What part in the States, eh?
San Diego,
San Diego.
California, man.
Mate, never been. Fingers crossed I can come to California this year. This year, maybe
Yeah.
late this year. So let's
Oh, hell
swing
yeah.
that 160 kilo kettlebell or whatever you got.
Yeah.
That
That thing is
motherfucker's
fucking.
huge.
It's nice. It's very helpful having heavier shit. It was kind of getting annoying having developed such a specialization in kettlebells, but being limited to the weight. So it's nice. My buddy Colin's starting to make some that are bigger, which is awesome.
That thing is giant.
Yeah, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Brother,
cool, dude.
thank you so much, man. You have a fucking
Yeah,
mega day and we'll talk soon.
yeah. Thank you, brother.
My man.
See you.
Bye,
Yep.
everybody.
See you.